Hey guys, Mike here from MasterYourMix.com, and I just wanted to share a very quick little Pro Tools tip for Pro Tools users that I feel not too many people know about. So, what most people do when they try to create a new track in Pro Tools is they'll go to the track menu, they'll go to the new option, and then this will open up the new tracks dialog box, and you can choose whether you want mono or stereo track, audio tracks, aux tracks, master tracks, and so on, and you can choose how many tracks you want. Now, that is one of the standard ways to do it. Another way to do it quickly is just to hold Shift, Command, and N, and that'll bring up the new track box as well. But what if I told you that there's a way to add tracks simply by double-clicking? So there is actually, and if you're in a new session that has no tracks existing, all you need to do is if you hold Command and double-click on your mouse, Pro Tools will create a stereo audio track. Now, if you hold Control and double-click, you'll get a stereo aux track. And if you hold Shift and double click, you'll get a stereo master track. So this is just a really quick way to help you make tracks really quickly. And another really cool feature is that after you've created this track, whatever the last type of track you created, whether it's an audio track, aux track, or master track, once you've created it, all you got to do is just double click after that, and it'll create more of the same track. And you don't even need the modifier key. So in this case, I just double clicked and I got two more master tracks that I had there. So if I want to do one more, there you go, right? Now, if I wanted to create a audio track, I'll hold Command and double click, and there we go. We've got my stereo audio track. And one more time, if I hold Control and double click, I've got a stereo aux track. Now, what if you don't want stereo tracks and instead you want mono? Well, unfortunately, there isn't a very quick way to auto-assign whether it's going to be stereo track or mono track. But what it does instead is Pro Tools will use whatever the last track you created was as a reference. So if the last track that you created was a mono track, then when you use those modifier keys, it'll create another mono track. So I'm just going to do this old school right here. I'm just going to hit Shift, Command, and N. And just for this example, I'm going to create a mono audio track. Now, since the last track I made was mono, whenever I create a new track, it will be mono. So if I hit Command and double click, it will create a mono track. And since the last track I made was a mono audio track, all I need to do is just double click and it'll create another one. Now, if I hit Control and double click, it's going to create a mono aux track. And if I hit Shift and double click, it's going to create a mono master track. So basically what it does is it memorizes the last track type that you created, whether it was an audio track, aux track, or master track, and it also keeps note of whether or not it's a stereo or mono track, and basically it just changes how it works when you're double clicking after that. So it's a really quick way for you to add tracks to your session whenever you need it, and based on the last track you made, you can just double click and add more tracks. So there you go, guys. That's a very quick way to add tracks to your session without having to go through the menus. And instead, all you got to do is just double click and quickly create your audio tracks. If you want to see more tips like this, make sure to check out MasterYourMix.com. And at the top of the page, there's a link to download your free copy of the Ultimate Mixing Blueprint. That's a guide that I've recently put together that shows you how to use EQ and compression in your mixes, shows you which frequencies you want to be paying attention to as you mix so that you can carve out the proper frequencies and get more clarity in your mix much, much faster. And when you sign up for that, I'll also add you to my mailing list, and every week I'll be sending out new video tips and tutorials, podcast episodes, and a whole bunch of other great resources for you to learn from. So check that out, MasterYourMix.com, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, guys.